Hey, what's up, fam? And welcome back again to Recap Kickback. It's me, your host, Chappell, taking you through another episode where we talk about movies, TV, media, music, whatever we want to talk about here. As you know, we love to highlight Black movies and Black stories and Black artists. And today we're going to do a lot of that all at the same time because we are talking about the new hit Netflix documentary called The Truth About Jussie Smollett ? And with me, you got the question mark is very important, y'all, because with me we have a true crime expert. Thank God we have one of those on the payroll. It's Mari.
Yes, we're back. We're here. I'm so excited to talk about this doc. I've been plugging it for like the last 2 weeks on everything. This conversation is about to be hilarious. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. So I can't wait to talk about this with y'all.
Yeah, and for some reason, Mari has invited her Wrestling Wrap Up co-host here, and I have to ask, Matt Scott, do you have a specific connection to this story to make you want to be here? Are you one of the people that Jussie was standing up for here?
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, Mari, why am I here?
Matt, I like your commentary on just about any and everything. I don't understand what Chappelle is trying to insinuate.
Representation matters.
No, I know exactly why I'm here. Let's not play. Like, I'm a big Journey Smollett fan. Like, I loved her in Selma Lord Selma. Shout out to that. Like,
great debaters.
We go way back. Oh, I started doing debate because of that. No,
you started doing debate. The great debaters.
Yes, I did.
Wow.
I quit halfway through the year. I got a 6th place championship. I got a 6th place championship at one debate, and I was like, okay, I'm done.
I don't know if there's such thing as a 6th place championship.
I did.
That's normally reserved for like first.
Where's my trophy? It's somewhere.
They gave you a 6th place trophy?
I'm sure they did.
Everybody trophies now.
I hope
this gave millennials the bad name. This is a participation trophy they was talking about. This is it.
And I participated. So what?
And we're happy to have you here participating with us as we talk about this documentary. But first, of course, we have to thank all the people for listening. If you are here for your first time here, as you can tell, it's going to be some shenanigans, but we're going to talk about this and we're going to get Mari's expertise on true crime while we break down what exactly happened in this documentary, and I get a couple of like our own personal opinions about what may or may not be true here. So thank you all for subscribing to the podcast. If you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Go to recapkickback.com/subscribe or subscribe here on our YouTube page, youtube.com/@recapkickback to keep up with what else we have in store. Some of the other content that we have here, of course, is our Flavor of Love coverage, which Matt has joined us on before. Chantel and I will be talking about the finale of Flavor of Love Season 1 this Thursday live here on YouTube. So make sure you tune in for that as well. And then we will be talking about the reunion with our special guest. You guessed it, Matt Scott.
Booked and busy.
Yeah, you're everywhere. Hot commodity.
Was there a reason you booked Matt Scott for the reunion of Flavor of Love?
Actually, I do love Flavor of Love. I did volunteer.
He volunteered.
You better watch it.
So, all that to say, let's jump in to The Truth About Jussie Smollett. Now, this documentary, we're told, comes from the people who brought you Don't F With Cats. Mari, I remember when Don't F With Cats dropped. Not like when it first dropped, but in my mind, it reminds me of that time where Netflix was really churning out those like massively popular documentaries, like The Tiger King, Don't F With Cats, The Tinder Swindler. Like Netflix was in a moment when it came to this stuff, and so now those people have gotten together and to tell us or to ask us the truth about Jussie Smollett. What did you think about them in comparison to each other? Did you feel the same DNA as the Don't F With Cats documentary?
You can feel it in a sense. Like Netflix was a part of the true crime boom we talk about on Crime Scene all the time. When we normally ask people what their true crime origin story, they normally say Serial. And Serial peaking in 2015 also coincided with Making a Murderer peaking in 2015, and Making a Murderer, as many true crime aficionados know, that was that was Netflix's like literal introduction to true crime. Making a Murderer was that docuseries that really regenerated the genre. It's like our generation's version of the Jinx. It is like important to the lexicon of true crime. And so when Netflix, after they did Making a Murderer, like you said, they were really in their true crime bag. And I would say that Don't F with Cats would be their second biggest one. There's The Keepers as well. That stuff came out between 2015, 2017. But Don't F with Cats is really one of those documentaries that a lot of true crime people are like, oh my God, I saw it. I was so affected by it, because it is the story of how some citizen detectives basically find a murderer because he posted an internet video with animal cruelty to doing animal cruelty to cats. So it was such a huge docuseries, and the makers going from that to this, you can kind of see the DNA in it because they do really good with the graphics, the timelines, stuff like that. But I do think that this one had a feel all of its own, mostly because they were able to secure a lot of prime players in the case. Like when Jussie sat down, I was like, oh Jesus. It's you just know you're gonna be in for some shit when the perpetrator is there. You're like, oh, what are we about to get? But then they took it a step further when the brothers showed up. I was like, oh Lord. It's just one of those. It was overall the property I think was really, really good as a true crime standalone. 126 minutes, I believe. Perfect executed. Didn't need 3 episodes. Honestly, I wouldn't have minded another episode or 2.
Yeah, a little deep dive. That would be nice.
I was in it. So loved it from putting my crime scene hat on.
Yeah, Matt, I know I was poking fun at you earlier about why you were being here, but anybody could have, and not to say that anybody, you're not replaceable, Matt. I'm not getting it. What I'm saying is that this was such a massive
I need to leave.
Story. You can go. But what I'm saying is that if you choose to stay, Matt, this was such a big story at the time that there's no way that basically anybody who's alive is not almost an expert of this case. Like, we heard so much of this. What was your experience learning about this stuff the first time in comparison to now watching the documentary?
Well, it's funny to think about when it happened because it feels like forever ago, like January 2019, because it was such a different time. Like I've kind of taken the deep dive. I've fallen down the rabbit hole going back to January 2019. What a time. And it's wild because there's the empire of it all, which was huge, especially when it came to everything that Jussie was up to and the queer storyline there, which was messy as hell, but also one of a kind, especially for everything. So I'm sure we'll probably touch on that at some point. But this was messy because I feel like in the moment when it happened, and honestly, I did not go back and see if I have any tweets out there that are still out there, but I feel like there were a lot of people, maybe myself included, who tweeted things supporting Jussie in the moment, and then a few days later were like, maybe I need to delete that and take that. Let me make sure I'm doing a little too much for this situation. So I remember being so heated in that moment, and also like, this is coming deep into the Trump administration. It's coming deep into a time when I think so many people were just used to and ready to speak up on the front of like queerness, on the front of Blackness, all of it. This all converges here, obviously, with this story. We hear it in the documentary too at the beginning and at other points where so many people were coming out of the woodwork, and I remember that. But I also remember the backpedaling really quickly when people were like, I'm not sure if this is our champion right now to show up for. And we still wonder 6.5 years later, right? So
and can I just say, this was also had to remind myself, this was before George Floyd. This was before like
yes, that's what I'm saying.
And all of that. That was insane. And fun fact, the day that he got arrested, like the month later, I was like in the hospital pushing with JJ. Like I was about to get
the day.
So yeah. So like,
that's why you named him JJ. Jussie. That's Jussie. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly why. James was actually, when we were watching this, he was like, yeah, you don't remember all this happened. He got arrested, and they were talking about it was probably him. The day you were in the hospital. I said, no, I forgot about that. I think I was doing something like kind of important at the time. So, but yeah,
and James was watching the news. Wow,
exactly. Watching TV while I'm fighting for my life. I will say Jayla was born when Not Like Us. Well, Not Like Us was dropping. So
that's a different. Jayla gonna be a different type of baby. That's a different type of baby. This was fun to watch, honestly, because it was taking me back to almost. It felt almost nostalgic because we remember where we were. Like we remember the feelings of all this stuff unfolding and them having the footage and the tweets basically that chronicled this stuff. That's the one good thing about social media. It's also a very bad thing about social media, but when people tweet out stuff and they don't delete it, it's on the internet forever. Screenshots exist. And so we could go back and see the droves and droves and droves of celebrities that were coming out to speak up for Jussie initially. Even Donald Trump saying like, oh yeah, I heard about this thing. It was awful. That sounds like the worst thing in the world. Like even Trump was like, man, this Jussie guy got dealt a raw deal, only for our entire world to go crashing down. And Matt pointed out something crazy, but because we were so ride or die at the time, we were speaking up. We like, hey, y'all not gonna silence this black man. Y'all not gonna further marginalize this queer man. We're gonna stand up for what's right. Y'all not gonna let these MAGA people take us down. And then by the day, people start backtracking. And the strong fought the fight. We were still like, hey, no, okay, that means nothing. The police are, you can't believe the police. What you talking about? Until finally it was kind of like, maybe I just shut my ass up. Maybe I should just be quiet until we see what happens. And quite frankly, I don't know if I ever knew what the final result of this was. And watching this documentary, I'm still not quite sure. I think if you had asked me point blank, Chappell, did Jussie Smollett lie? I would have said absolutely. To this day, I would have said absolutely. Now I've watched the documentary, Matt, I have questions.
Not for me.
No, just about the documentary.
Jamal Lyons.
Jamal Lyons. What did you think? Now that you've seen the documentary and both sides presented, has your opinion changed a little bit?
I think he's kind of a liar. But here's the thing. I mean, I don't trust the cops. Like this is the thing. It's a false dichotomy when you're like, do I trust the Chicago PD? Do I trust Jussie? I don't trust any of them. And honestly, like even if I'm not gonna say even if he was telling the truth, but even if he was, I'm like, sir, you're an actor. You could be much more convincing. Like you could work on it, sir. You were getting paid how much? Like 100,000 plus maybe per episode of Empire. By the time it's over, like, sir, get those acting classes together. Get those tears going. Like it's that Robin Roberts interview. The Robin Roberts interview for me that really that's a lying man. But there's also a lot of questions about what exactly happened, and I don't trust Bola and Ola either. So I don't trust anyone.
I mean, no disrespect to our Nigerian listeners, but I mean, it's such a cliche to bring out the scamming Nigerians. Such a cliche. They said everybody back when they did that.
Did you know?
They said that because I was like, I'm not gonna say it. I am not gonna say it.
I said it. No disrespect to the non-scammers, but this was too nail on the head. They were like, let's find some Nigerians.
Chappell, do you know their book title name? They
don't know their book title name. I think I wrote it down. It was bigger than Jussie, The disturbing need for a modern day lynching, which they repeat to us several times because one of Bola or Ola don't remember what the title is in the first place. They're clearly capitalizing on this. Mari, I remember the day. I remember the day I realized to me that this was a lie and it was a sham. It was when Jussie stood up on that stage and said, "I fought the F back. I'm the gay Tupac." I said, you know what? Let me go. All right, we're done. Because even if you tell her the truth, why did you just say that? Why did you just say that? Why did you just say that? You know, because of that, you lost my support, Jussie. So, Mari, I know you well enough to know you was in the trenches.
So
sorry.
again, I'm trying to think, and I don't think I was like, because again, I was 9 months
searching
at the time. I search.
Jussie,
I'm not on Twitter no more. She not even on Twitter no more.
Oh no, I'll find it.
I searched you already, Matt. You didn't have anything, but like,
thank God.
I remember I remember thinking, because I was also working night shifts too. So I remember thinking like, oh, damn, that sucks. And then I remember like listening to the read and they're like, everybody's like, oh, we got to support him. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then I remember like slowly everybody's like, wait, things are adding up. And I was like, ooh, girl. And I specifically remember being like, nope. I did the Homer Simpson meme. I was like, no, I think I'm just gonna stay out of this. I don't know what's going on. So I really think that was my take on it, because I was gung-ho to support, but then I was like, I'm scared. Like, Mama, I'm scared. Come get me. Come pick me up, because what is happening? I would have never thought that you would have like lied or pretended to get beat up and a lynching and all of this. Like, that did not. So when the reports first started and they were like, they were saying like, oh, we were thinking he was lying, like when the police first said that, I was like, no. It was like one of those things where it's like, I was like, justice for Jussie, and then I was like, okay, so maybe let's
hear it out. Let's hear both sides.
Yeah. So you were like, I mean, justice for everyone, right? Like, everyone should have justice.
Finally, I was like, if he did that, that's crazy.
Right. It's like, he might be lying, but that does not take away from the fact that this does happen and that you should believe victims most of the time. Damn it.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's so annoying, right? Because that's kind of like the main takeaway, because we all talk about how like it's like the fake cases are what stick in your head. You think of Jussie, you think of the lady whose wig was on the side of the road.
I forgot about her. I forgot that lady straight line. Damn, that's crazy. Crazy that you would bring up that woman. Oh my God.
So, it was just one of those things where I know that I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna let this play out. I'm just gonna sit back and see. And it's always those moments where you're like, oh my God, I can't wait till they do a documentary on this. And that's what this is. I think what we should be talking about in this documentary, and I think that the documentary really did kind of capture, was like, okay, so say he did lie about getting beat up, he paid these guys for attention, whatever. The next step was, why did they have to go and prosecute him? Why did they have to go and overly charge him? You know what I'm saying? Like, we get in this documentary that they charged him with something minor. I can't remember it. Maybe Chappell, you might have it.
And he was falsifying a police report.
Yes. So yeah, that sounds about right. So they charge him for falsifying a police report. He forfeits his $10,000 bond. That was the agreement with the progressive prosecutor that they had, that he had at the time.
Yeah.
And that was it. And honestly, I think that should have been it. The problem was then, because this was overly politicized, Trump got involved. The MAGA cult themselves got involved. They're like, no, he needs to be made an example of. They bring in a special prosecutor. The special prosecutor drops all these charges on him. and he gets found guilty of these charges. But it's really funny because even all of these, they stack up all these charges, and still the maximum they can get is like, I think 150 days sentence, suspended probation or something like that. And he only had to do 150 days in prison or something. It was something stupid. It was still so low. And it's again, you wasted all this taxpayers' money. You made this a big old circus. And even when you overcharged him, it's really nothing more than a couple months in county jail and whatever. Mind you, he is still over here thinking he's gay Malcolm X, saying that he's not suicidal as he's going in. But it's like, what are we doing this for? And the reason I think that this documentary came at this time is because back in 2024, if nobody is paying attention anymore, because that's how it normally happens, his conviction was overturned. That later conviction was overturned because the court was like, the first plea deal should have stood. Like, he should have never been charged with the in that second trial by the special prosecutor. So again, police misconduct, prosecutorial misconduct on the side of the special prosecutor, like all of this, a waste of money, just overly politicized.
Yeah.
And the biggest takeaway for most people is don't trust gay Black victims. Like, I hate it. I hate it here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but you know what? I think it's like it's interesting because I would hope that that's not the takeaway for people. I think a lot of people, I mean, it definitely didn't help. And it's also a thing where it's like, see, they lie. They all lie. All the gays, all of the Blacks, all of the gay Blacks, like they all lie.
The big three. Yeah.
Damn.
Matt. Okay. So the documentary definitely give both sides of the story, which I really appreciate it, right?
Right.
I like that.
Because like Mari said, when you see Jussie, you're like, okay, here comes Jussie just making shit up again, and we gotta take his word for it. But then you got like the like disgrace to former superintendent, you got the lawyers, you got all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, bet. And you start to see
that man.
This is extremely personal to a lot of these people, especially him. Matt, Mari talks about how they initially he took the plea, not guilty. He paid his $10,000 bond, and this was supposed to be gone. The charge was supposed to be dropped. Jussie stood up there and said, like, yes, this proves my innocence. The charges are dropped. Y'all found nothing.
Dummy.
And that Black cop was like,
he pissed everyone off.
Not on my watch.
Not on my watch. Do you think this goes away if Jussie just shuts the fuck up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole thing from the beginning. Because here's my thing. So beyond even the interview with Robin Roberts, shout out to Robin, love her. Here's the thing. Like, I just am annoyed that like a couple days later when he's like, you know, my agent said to cancel my live show with everyone coming together, and I was like, no, we can't do that. I need to still be at my live event. And you get like the rawest version of him, because he's not even like a broken man who's just trying to like quietly like not expose the case. He is on his talking points already, where he is like, I'm gonna be this voice, I'm gonna be this advocate. And like, it's so admirable, right? Because, you know, especially as a Black queer man, like, that is a voice that's important. But it was really clear to me that he was very ready to be, you know, what
the gay Tupac.
the gay Tupac.
Why did he say that?
He was ready. And you know what? Like, I just, it makes me a little skeptical. Just because I think I would have been a little bit more quiet after getting my ass beat by MAGA people who tried to lynch me. You know, like, I don't think I would have been as quick to that, maybe, or I would have been traumatized, like trying to figure my stuff out. But he was not.
How many kids them Smollett's got?
4.
There was a few of them, right?
4.
Okay, yeah.
Jake, Journey, Jussie, and some other one.
Is it Jock or
you.
Jockey?
Probably. Yeah.
I thought it was like 7 of them. And so I was thinking, I don't know, but I was really thinking like he was probably fighting for that attention. That's probably, I'm not here to psychoanalyze anybody, but in Jussie's interviews, in this documentary, like archival stuff aside, in this documentary, when he's talking to this camera, it still does not come off as authentic in places. It feels like he sidesteps a lot of the questions. They're like, oh, the Ola and Bola, what happened with them? He's like, all I know is Ola used to train me, and so I that $3,500 I sent him was for training. I don't even know why they're saying this. I never saw, the people I saw were white, and I was like, I thought that was interesting,
Yeah.
And he was like, he had never changed his story. He said he never understood why they had picked why they had the police had fingered them as suspects. He had never said that they were suspects in it. But there was things that he would say that I'm like it's a classic manipulation tactic when they said, the police were like, why are you out at 2 a.m. during a polar vortex to get a sandwich? Like, it's too cold outside. Nobody should have been outside. Blah, 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 blah. And Jussie goes like, yeah, it was 2 a.m., but I was hungry. And I will admit, at the time, I was on drugs. Like, that whole thing of admitting a small transgression so that you can seem absolved of the bigger one is like a classic manipulator narcissist tactic. It's like saying, yes, see, I'm copping to this.
I'm honest. Yeah.
I'm honest to this. So that means you should listen to the bigger thing. And he did that several times throughout the interview. And I was just like, I don't know, man. It was really hard because I don't know if that's just him coming off inauthentic, because by the time they switch over to the part where it's like the police could have been lying, I was like, damn, they really could have been lying. So
yeah,
I don't think we'll ever know the truth. I don't know.
No, but I mean, yeah, just back to the Jussie of it all, like every single time I have heard him explain that story, it is just too much. Like, okay, you went to Walgreens, you thought it was 24/7, but it wasn't. So then you went across the street to the Subway, which was open at 2 a.m. to get a salad, which I don't know if either of you have had a salad. A salad at Subway. I've had one of those. It is gross. Like, it's actually gross. And then at 2 a.m. and then he's walking, and things that jumped out to me, which I think they definitely pointed out. I'm like, sir, you just have the bag with the salad, even though you just were assaulted, and
he was hungry.
Your salad was not.
Thank you.
Just because you got your ass beat don't mean you less hungry.
I'm not leaving my food there.
But you were hungry, but you got a salad. Like,
he would probably clutch it. I would have been clutching it.
Well, they did say that bag looked undisturbed, like it had not been, like it was gingerly put down and picked back up.
We need to recreate this and get a Subway salad. Jump. One of you beat me up, and then we'll see if the top is on or something.
What do you mean the bag looked undisturbed?
That's what they said. The bag. They said
I know that's what they said. That
doesn't
make sense. Pristine.
I mean, if you got jumped, would you have time to put your plastic bag gingerly down to the side while these two white Nigerians beat your ass?
I mean,
what does the bag look like? What would the bag look like if it?
The salad would be okay. The salad would be all over
tossed.
the place.
Yeah, it would be tossed.
It would be tossed.
Look, I don't want to just jump straight to speaking of tossing salads because I almost said it. But let's talk about what we were presented as like Jussie's side. Like Matt said, he was going to Walgreens. He had just flown in. He talked to Frank, his guy or whatever. He said, "All right,
it's creative director
and uncle."
Yeah. Oh, and Uncle Frank. So he goes to Uncle Frank, goes to the hotel. He's like, "Hey, I'm about to walk to Walgreens." He walks there at the crack of dawn, or in the wee hours of the night. Goes to Walgreens. They're closed. Then he goes to Subway. There are several people in the Subway. We find out. So it wasn't like, oh, it's so cold that nobody else is outside. We do see that other people are at the Subway. We get the footage. And low-key, that's the first time I got annoyed, really. And it was, they even presented that to about halfway through, but we were always like presented that in Chicago, it was so cold that night. It was a polar vortex. Nobody would be outside. So why would this man be outside? Then you show me 4 other people in the subway, including, and then not including the people working at Subway. I'm like, well, I mean, it ain't that cold if people not completely boycotting Subway, but whatever. Anyway, he goes to Subway, he leaves, he's jumped by 2 white individuals wearing the shiesty masks. He can see their eyes kind of poking through. He can see the skin, so he can tell they're white. They said, it's MAGA country, bitch. And then they proceed to beat his ass. They call him some slurs. And then when he comes to, there's a noose around his neck. He then goes into the hotel, up the elevator, and he takes the noose off, he says. And when the cops come, he has put the noose back on after Uncle Frank calls the cops to report this hate crime.
That was where he lost me too.
Put the noose back on so y'all can see what they did to me, Mari.
I was like, because when they said, why would he just sit there with the noose on for 35 minutes? I was like, because he wouldn't want to mess up the evidence, y'all. Duh.
No,
but he
really walk in?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
He like
that's the problem.
But that's what I'm saying.
Like with the Windsor knot or something.
The police were like, why would you just sit there with the noose around your neck for 35 minutes? Why, when we walked in, was it still on him? Wouldn't, if it was so offensive, you would have gotten it off as soon as possible? Me, a person, was like,
no, you wouldn't.
No, because I wouldn't want to disturb the evidence.
No,
but then when they cut to his stupid behind, he was like, yes, I took it off before, I put it back on when they came, and I was like, okay, well, now you're just lying. Because why would you do that?
Yeah, okay, wait. First of all, can I just polar vortex? I just looked it up. That next day,
you don't remember that?
It was negative 23 degrees allegedly in Chicago at that point. Let's just like put that out there. I feel like it's important to know how cold it was.
But it's also really Chicago. Cold. They're kind of used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but negative 23.
If it's negative 23 here in Texas, the Subway is closed.
Are people committing hate crimes in negative 23 degree weather? That's what I want to know.
People not going to Subway in negative 23 degree weather, yet we saw people at Subway in negative 23 degree weather. We saw it with our own eyes.
But like people are going to Subway, and I want to know why those people were there.
Yeah,
I want to know.
They're hungry. We are hungry. People are hungry.
I'm okay with that, but also delivery, baby. Grubhub, DoorDash.
This was pre-COVID. A lot of people wasn't delivering like that,
sir.
And you know that delivery fee would have been out the ass if they had to come out.
He was making 100,000 plus per episode.
This is how the rich stay rich, Matt. They save their money. So we get that side, and I'm like, okay, these are the things we know, but we also know that they end up poking holes in this, and then we start getting to the cop side, basically, where they're like, yeah, it sounds good. We all, the world, started looking at this. We were all concerned. Like I said, even Donald Trump was like, hey, that sucks. And so, like, for a second, it was
different time.
But they end up tracking the only leads that they have, which is basically these 2 gentlemen that they find walking on the street. The camera just conveniently doesn't catch the actual attack, but we see these 2 people.
Right.
Jussie did say that there were 2 people involved. And so we said, okay, there's 2 people. Let's follow them. Let's figure it out. They tracked their Uber. They took an Uber to a taxi, and the taxi dropped them off in our neighborhood. And then they walked a few blocks, and then they disappeared. We couldn't find any more Ring doorbell cameras or anything like that to keep up with them. So the trail runs dry there, and so they go back. They work backwards, and they say, okay, well, before they got the cab, they were in a ride share. Who was in the ride share? And it turns out that it is these 2 Nigerian brothers, Ola and Bola, and Ola and Bola, they not only did they catch that Uber to that taxi and then that taxi to the house where the 2 masked individuals disappeared to roughly 5 blocks away from that. They also worked on the set of Empire, and they knew Jussie Smollett in real life. Now, this is where I'm like, all right. This is where I started to, even in the real time, where I was like, all right, Jussie might be lying. Because why would these Empire guys just randomly be in that neighborhood? But when you take into consideration the way the Chicago police be lying, Mari, we get evidence that, like, maybe they were coerced to say this when they got back from Nigeria.
Yeah. So that was another. So that's the thing. These two individuals that they pick up on these cameras, you know, it wasn't like they saw them from committing the crime. It was just they were in that general area when the crime was being committed. Like you said, Chappell, we have all of this security footage, but for some reason we didn't get footage of the actual assault happening. But Jussie said,
wild.
"Oh, I think they went down wild, right?
Yeah.
I think they went down this street, and so they saw the two guys on the street. Like Chappell says, they followed them through cameras. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. When they come back from Nigeria, what we find out later, which I really love how this documentary unfolded all of this stuff. But what we find out is they come back from Nigeria because they suspect them of the Jussie assault. They execute a search warrant. Well, what they find at that house and that search warrant is a whole bunch of firearms. Oh, and guess what? Bola is a registered convict, I believe. So he's not supposed to be around firearms. And so if he pleads that he can connect Jussie to this assault, both the brothers were given like immunity for the assault. They were not charged with anything. Not everything was dropped against them. Their lawyer, their very innocently devilish looking lawyer with the braces.
who is now opening a law firm in LA. Yes, her.
Yes, Gloria Rodriguez.
I was like, you
Shout
go,
out.
girl. Like I was
right. You said, girl,
conflicted. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, gatekeep, girl.
But the thing is, she was like, the funny thing is, she was talking about, she's like, oh yeah, I just randomly met their mom a couple months before, and I was like, hey, if your kids ever need,
if your kids
are
ever assaulting Jussie Smollett, let me know.
Like walking ass backwards into one of the biggest like cases ever of her career. She was like a paralegal almost. Like I don't know. I don't want to downplay her credentials.
But do we even believe that though? Do we believe that story that she ran into their mom in an Uber basically and saw pictures of these handsome gentlemen, got their card and said, if your convicted felon son and his brother ever need a lawyer, to let me know right before they go and do some shit like this.
I mean, probably she seemed honest, but also like she had to be doing that left and right. There's so many questions. So I need a part two.
Exactly. And so the documentary shows us footage of. I don't know if you guys realize.
They should show us like footage of her in the Uber having this conversation with the mom, like dash cam.
I don't know if you guys realize, like when they said we shouldn't be seeing this footage, we truly should not be seeing this footage. The footage that they show is the two brothers talking to their attorney in the interrogation room in the police in the police interrogation room.
It's confidential.
It's confidential. Like when a lawyer goes in there to talk to their clients, they're supposed to turn that camera off, from what I understand. If they don't turn it off, they're at least supposed to not be by it. Like the police are not supposed to be able to hear. Nobody's supposed to be able to hear what they're saying. So the fact that the documentary was able to get this footage and put it in there, I was like how? But it was really interesting because we see her coaching them through, like they was having a party up in there, like, yeah, if y'all say he did it scot free, she was like laughing, chuckling. They was like, okay. Like I was like, what is happening right now? It was a doozy. So again, Jussie's story has always maintained that the brothers had nothing to do with it. The brothers are now saying Jussie orchestrated it so that they can get out of the trouble that they find themselves in with having firearms in their house. I mean, that's what they get out of it. I don't know if we should say that's why they did it.
Right.
And then you add on top that we find out that there's two separate witnesses, a security guard from a store across the the courtyard from where it happened,
Mhm.
and I believe a woman out on her balcony. Both say they saw two white men running away from the vicinity of the attack. Not only that, there is tape from inside where that security guard was.
Sketchy.
And that tape is missing 10 seconds. That just happens to be the time where the security guard is confronting what he's saying is he's confronting the attackers. I was like, well, god dang, like what is happening here?
Yeah, but
Mari,
Matt. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
No, I'm thinking, could everyone be lying?
Well, that's what I was about to get.
Are they all in on it together?
So they recover this footage, and they even found in color footage of the two individuals that are walking around that day, and they're like, and clearly it's a white man, and they show the cop, and they're like, I don't know, that looks like a black man. They show the other investigators, like, I don't know, that looks like a black man. Then they show Anthony, the security guard, and he goes, damn, that's a white man. It's like stop it, wait. And then they show Gloria, she like, yeah, that's a white man. They show Anthony, he says, that's a black man. I'm like, wait a minute.
Bola and Ola are like, that's us.
Yeah, Bola and Ola like, we're black, that's us. Anthony said, yeah, that's a black dude. I think they're everybody's story while looking at the color video. It's like, I don't know, could be black, could be white, could be high yellow. I don't know.
I'm annoyed because the coloring of the video, to me, it was all off because I'm like, why is it so bright? It's nighttime. Like,
it did look like it was
in the
bright?
So I think that's confusing. But they did kind of look like one of them did look like a balding white man.
I mean, they look white to me. I don't know.
Look, I mean, to me, but like, I don't know.
Saw this white man looked at that video and said, "That's
Anthony
a black man."
is the security guard. Yeah.
He saw the video and said, "Look black to me." I was like, "Anthony, you was the only thing we had. No phone." So there was a lot of oddities in this case, especially considering Jussie did not always cooperate with the police. One of the smoking guns that they will have against him is that they asked him for his cell phone. They're like, "Hey, all we gotta do is look at your cell phone and just make sure you ain't sending these text messages to these guys explaining to them that you wanted them to beat them up. Let us see your phone." He's like, "Nah, I can't do that. I can't do that because I know a lot of people. I got a lot of things, and also I'm on drugs. Did I tell y'all I was on drugs? So I didn't want to give that phone up because I didn't want y'all to be mad at me about the drug thing." I'm like, "Sir, don't you think this is bigger than that? Don't you think this was big enough to at some point be like, you know what? Here's my phone. How about that? If that will expunge me, if that will clear my name, here's my phone." No, he never gave up his phone, Matt.
Yeah. That was kind of suspicious.
He never gave up his phone?
No, he gave phone. He gave a limited phone. I don't even think he gave his full phone records. Limited phone records. Sir, like what? Wait, I just
They couldn't find anything.
Talk about this. Yeah, Mari, look at you.
Also, I mean, there are things that were left out of the documentary, and I had to look this up because I remember them being like, well, from what I can tell, Jussie had a sexual relationship with one of the Ola brothers. I said, what? So exactly, it's coming back.
Ola, right?
They don't even talk about it in here. In this documentary at all. Wikipedia says for the first time that he had engaged in a sexual relationship with Bola. One of the two brothers said he had hired the stage and attack. Right. However, during the testimony, Bola insisted that he is not gay. Ola, who Smollett claimed is homophobic, took the stand to present evidence that he gets paid to do homosexual activities such as being employed at a bar as a bouncer and modeling at pride parades.
No one said he was gay.
No one said Ola was gay, but Jussie said Bola is gay. He said they was gay together.
But he knows him that intimately.
And Bola was the tall one, right? That's Bola the one I've been thinking about the whole time.
He was he had the hat.
I believe he was
he was the hat one.
The hat and the nose
rings.
One.
Oh wait,
no, yeah, he was the one with the nose ring.
Without the hat.
Yeah.
So the one on the left.
Who's left, Mari?
Yeah, exactly.
When we were looking at
he's the one who didn't know the name of the book.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I was getting their names wrong, but I mean,
I do find it fascinating that the documentary just glosses over that. Like, to me, that was one of the bigger deals, because if you watch the documentary and take everything at face value, then it does feel like Jussie might have known these people. Like he said, one of them was his trainer, and I'm assuming that's Bola because, well, you know, they were doing stuff. But like, if you talk about it being a sexual relationship, that adds another layer of this being possibly something that they could be trying to pin on him for that reason, you know, or using that against him. So there's so much like confusion with the facts of the case.
Right. So, but Bola is saying that there wasn't a sexual relationship, right?
Exactly. He said
so so if he's participating in this documentary, that's probably why they let
leave that gay shit out.
Yeah.
He said, "No, I'll do it, but you can't talk about that part."
Again,
so
I'll be surprised.
But there's so much here, and it's fascinating to me because, as we discussed, they are like, Jussie, he pleads not guilty. He stands up in front of everybody and says, "See, I told you, I'm not guilty." And the cops are like, "Nah, we got to get this dude." So they get another prosecutor on the case. They take him down. He gets sentenced with 5 counts of the 6 counts of disorderly conduct that they are basically trying to get him with. 5 counts.
They were pissed.
Yeah, they were mad.
Like,
and they
how
were
do you even stack that?
I guess 5 different lies that he told. I mean, falsified police report is really gonna be one of them, for sure. I'm the gay Tupac is probably worth, you know, at least 1 felony account. So that happens, and it looks like that's it. Case closed. Jussie did it. We move on. Even the judge is like, "Hey, I can't. Everything I sentence you to ain't gonna do half the damage that you did to your own career." Until this nice little lady in London, Matt, finds out about this. And she's like,
"Who is she? I literally don't know her name." She's from British lady with glasses.
Came out of nowhere.
This lady from London pops up and she's like, "That sounds fishy." And she starts to do her own private investigation. And this is very much in the vein of Don't Fuck with Cats, you know, where it's like the people decide, all right, I'm going to take a look into this. And she's the one who not only uncovers a lot of the problems with the case, the fact that we're taking the Bola and Ola brothers' word for it, but we didn't know nothing about those guns at first. We also know that the police never actually put them with Jussie at any point that night. You know, there is DNA on the noose, but it doesn't match them. And as we said, they were dropped off in that area, but no one ever saw Jussie with those 2 individuals. So for all we know, there could just be a total coincidence that they were there. And so because of this lady's actions, it seems like they get the ball rolling on a appeal. And Matt, the appeal says, hey, he probably still did it, but at the very least, we can't convict him for these felonies because he already took the plea deal.
It's like double jeopardy, I think.
Yeah, the criminal justice system is a joke. Like, what are we doing? Because I just feel like I only need certain information. Like, okay, they were in the Uber, it was dropped off. I'm going to assume that was accurate information. I'm going to assume. But who knows? Mari, I think you brought this up. Like, they could have fudged it somehow. Who knows what to believe with the cops? So they were in the neighborhood. Where were they freaking going, Chappell? What were they doing? Like, I need to know what the explanation is for where they were. And I kind of wish that the camera recorded the assault, because I feel like Jussie and them were like, they probably thought they were being recorded. They probably did the whole like choreo for this.
Yeah,
broke it all down.
If Jussie's telling the truth, then it behooves them to be recorded. That's the whole point. Like,
I mean, the camera was there. It just was facing the wrong direction in the, you know, how those, like, you can't even tell what direction they're facing sometimes.
Right. But if the police are trying to make this look like it's not a hate crime, it's also very convenient that there is no footage, because now you can't look at the camera yourself and say, oh, no, that's a white hand. That's a white eye. That's a white face. You can't prove his story right or wrong because there is no camera footage, even though if what Bola and Ola are saying, there should very much be footage. Like, that would be the entire point of this.
I need to just bring up something else completely
Talk about
that we haven't talked about here in the story. So Jussie he leaves Subway. He's on the phone. And then one of these alleged white men says, Empire.
Hey, Empire. Now, mind you, hold on.
Please, yeah.
Okay,
we need to talk about this.
No.
Yeah, you know where we going with this. Mari is calling an actor by their best known role, not their name, not the actor's name, but just the role. Would you say, in your professional black ass opinion, that is a black?
That's some black ass shit. Yes, yes. Glasses, yes.
Glasses. I see your skirt.
Yes. It don't make no sense.
My granny still called Olivia Pope, and that lady's name is Kerry Washington. Like she would never stop.
Scandal.
Scandal. I see you, Scandal.
How would MAGA white people know?
That's what I'm saying.
Empire?
They watch him on Empire and they know enough about him to be like, okay, so we happen to know who this man is. We happen to have the noose, and we happen to be on the street walking around. We somehow identified him in the negative 20-something degree weather, and then. But like these people don't watch. Like, there's no way they watched Empire and knew who he was. That's his freaking ego. That's what I'm saying. I'm just like, sir, no one knows who you are on the street. Like, you could be.
And remember that, like, Jussie was maybe black famous at this point. Like,
maybe like Empire famous.
Maybe. Yeah, exactly. And he had just gotten up from under Journey. Like, he when Empire first started, them first 2-3 years, that's Journey's brother. Like, so for us to barely be able to, recognize him, know who he is at this stage, for that to happen, that's very interesting. It'd be so funny if it was something to the tune of like some white people really did jump him, but they didn't say anything, and he like kind of made the shit up.
He made he editorialized all the extra stuff. Like,
he got the
around my neck.
No, that's okay.
The theater kid in him jazzed it up a little bit. Like, he jazzed his assault up.
See, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because that makes more sense. Like, but to know who he is and not confuse him with someone else, I'm just like, sir, what are we doing? Like, there's no way. And God, it's just, the fact that he really, though, he remembered all the details, including the fact that he fought back. Like, sir, come on.
Fought back. He's
a lot
the gay Tupac. Those were his exact words.
This is why this whole thing pisses me off, because it's not something that, like, it obviously could happen. Like, we know that these types of things do happen, but it's just a little too much of that ego where I'm like, sir, like, they did not know they would not have known who you are out on the street. And yes, it filmed in Chicago. I get it, but I mean, there are other people who look similar.
I'm telling you, now that I think about it, I really do think he might have gotten mugged and stuff. And he's like, on the ground, like, oh, maybe I could
flip this. Flip this. And look, I will stand on this. Maybe I believe that there was a white man on that street, because that white lady has no reason to lie. Okay, she has no reason to lie. Anthony Moore has no reason to lie for Jussie Smollett. And then when he saw that video and he said, that's a black man on that video, that man was being dead ass honest. He's like, that's not the person I saw. I believe that the white people's out there, they probably didn't get a good look at him, or they dipped out, or whatever the case may be. And the Nigerians may or may not have been there too. Who knows? But the white people's out there. That's all I will give them. Because I can't completely absolve Ola and Bola of being the people who did this, because we get footage of them at the store buying supplies for the mugging. They were buying a noose.
Okay, did they buy because their DNA wasn't on it.
They had them
buying. They had them buying the shiesties, but again, it's negative 23 degrees in Chicago.
Who isn't
buying
a shiesty?
Wait, that's what I'm saying.
Wait, hold on, but
that's what they're made for.
No, but how did they not? This is where it gets confusing because what are we saying about the Chicago PD? They could have just planted their DNA on the news and then.
But they wasn't on the news. It wasn't. They should have. They should have. If the Chicago PD was going to make this look like this, they could have. They doctored everything else apparently in this documentary. So why wouldn't they doctor the news? I think Matt makes a good point. Why did they stop there? Why were they like, we'll just delete eight? What was it? 10 seconds of footage. I looked it up. I looked it up. They were seeing a security camera in a clothing store where they bought gloves, ski mask, and a red hat that the police said was used in the attack. The brothers asked specifically for a MAGA hat while at the store, but the store did not sell them. So they just bought a red hat.
Well,
wait, they were wearing one of them was wearing a MAGA hat in one of the interviews. In one of the news interviews they did.
They didn't,
and it feels like that's the title of their book kind of makes me believe that might be their true beliefs. Like that wasn't
I'm sure
they weren't dressing up, you know.
Oh no, because if you want to talk about the clout that comes from this, obviously we talked about that they're getting a book deal, but we see them paraded all in front of Fox News. They're doing like different speaking events. They're on the red carpet at whatever the hell that was. Yeah, and it does make it seem like they had a lot to gain from potentially being a part of this assassination of a Black man's character. And so by the end of this, I don't know what to believe. I really was ready to be like, the cops did this. Everything, like the cops did this. That was a Black man. Those were Black men under that. I mean, those were white men under there or whatever. Until Anthony Moore looked at that video and said, "No, it looks black to me." I said, Anthony, you was the last hope because you see that white man and you now looking at a video footage of this white man. All of a sudden, it's like, nah, he Black. And we got other pieces of information that made me think that they were trying to pin this on it. Like even when they talked about the lineup. They brought out the lineup. They said, okay, here, look at these 8 Black men. Which ones were the ones you saw? He's like, he was white. No. Look at these.
Yeah, that's messed up.
And tell me which one he saw. He's like, well, there's a light skinned one. We'll pick him. Okay, well, this one's the closest to white. Okay, well, that's it. That's our guy. And then Ola and Bola, neither one of them. Nothing close to white. Not even looking.
Yeah.
But it was cold. It was cold. And you don't, I mean, one, you know, if you just get like freezing, you know, like the color might drain a little bit out of you in the moment. But also, like, it's so funny to me how everyone's perception is so different. Not only looking at the video, but like, did I see a white man? Did I see a Black? I don't know. Like, I don't even know how Jussie would know who he saw in that deep trauma that he was facing. His MAGA and the big MAGA people attacked him.
He got mugged by MAGA people, you know. I guess it's just a memory that's seared into his brain. He saw white.
It's so annoying though, because in a way, I'm just gonna put this out there. Almost none of these details matter because I mean, there's like truth in what Jussie was claiming to experience, even if he did not experience it. I mean, I'm glad that if he did lie, I'm glad this didn't blow up into some career for him as a civil rights icon. And then we later find out about what happened. But like, there's truth there, right? Of like that type of experience about MAGA people doing that type of thing, even if that didn't happen to him. That's about all I got, actually. I was going to keep going on why this doesn't matter. But, you know, like my bigger point, just like I wish that more people, because I just watched this clip earlier today from this last week where people were talking about and making fun of Jussie, and they don't bring up the fact that, like, yeah, hate crimes are a real thing. Like, let's not just discredit the existence of hate crimes because of this one incident, whether or not it's true. And it's kind of annoying. And in a way, I blame Jussie, but I also just blame the media and everyone else. As Mari knows on Crime Scene, I always come back to blaming the media. I blame them for not taking like the actual issues seriously.
Exactly. And I found it very chilling that was it the judge or somebody has said like it might have been the judge, but he said your name is now synonymous with lying.
That's messed up, though. I mean,
but
it's
it's
a little
true.
true.
We've all gotten these jokes off. Like it
is true. It has been
Jussie,
true.
Like we gotten these jokes off in that meantime. Like I said, nobody knew Jussie's name 10 years ago, pre-Empire.
No, definitely
Empire,
not.
he was just peaking, and now this situation has completely like diminished his rise, his career. It's diminished how we view him as a person. And I'm just glad that this documentary did a good job of presenting both sides, because as I'm looking on social media, there's still people who are like, Jussie's a liar. I don't understand how y'all think he's innocent, to people like, okay, now I'm definitely second guessing, because what was the police on? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I am glad that this documentary they did a great job really presenting a whole bunch of stuff, and it not being like them presenting stuff that I didn't even know about. So I'm hoping at the very least, like you said, Matt, that this documentary opens up to like, okay, can we talk about the bigger picture and how, hate crimes are a major problem?
Yeah. It's tough. This is tough because on the one hand, we do get both sides. And we've gone kind of, at least I can say this confidently, that I've gone under the premise that like Jussie did whatever they said he did. Like this Jussie was lying up until now. But it does, to me, further highlight that now the cops be doing shady stuff too. Like I can be a liar and the cops can also be doing shady stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
Because because they like one of the underlying things that they talk about here is that the Chicago PD has like an awful reputation. What was it? 500 or something like that, different like complaints, 563 allegations by the city of Chicago against the police officers, and 16 different lawsuits, including one of the cops using hate speech in their criminal proceedings. Like all that stuff really happened.
Side note, I just got really, Mari, I know what you're going to go to, but I just have to say, I got really mad at the propaganda that was Family Matters and Carl Winslow just now. I just
straight out of Chicago.
Just out of Chicago. Just out of the blue. I really did.
Out of the blue.
You're going to mention the thing with Eddie Johnson, right?
The
cop.
Yeah, the cop who was on here, Eddie Johnson. Yeah. He gets what was he got indicted for something. So the guy who's telling us about Jussie through this whole thing, we find out at the end he has like multiple citations against him. He gets indicted for something.
He lied. He lied. They found him sleeping in his car, and he said he was having some type of mental break. Turned out the man was drunk.
Yeah. Like,
which that is kind of BS though, that they took away. Did they take away his retirement benefits? Because of that,
I don't know. They definitely fired his ass.
Wild though. I think they said 5 days before he was retiring.
Yeah, they did. It was like right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I agree, Chappell. It's like two things can be true at the same time.
That footage didn't doctor itself. That we still need to know where them 8 seconds went.
But that's the thing. 10 seconds. All 10 of them. But this is the thing. Obviously, the cops can't be trusted and they're sketchy. And we're not going to trust the cops more whether or not Jussie lied. Like, that's just not the outcome of this. It's not like affirming anything that they're saying or doing. I just view it as two separate things where it's like, yeah, they're bullshit and full of it. But that's the cops.
One last thing on the flag up from the Wikipedia about the lawsuits. It says on April 12, 2019, the city sued Jussie in the Circuit Court of Cook County for $130,000 plus $1,000 for each false statement that he made to the city, plus 3 times the city's damages. So speaking to what Mari's point was like about how much money that they used on this, but that was denied. The motion was dismissed on the theory that, of course, Jussie could not have predicted the level of expenses that his false report would induce the police to occur. And then, of course, we find out later on that is turned over in the Court of Appeals because of his, prior plea deal. And so they were still trying to take Jussie down, even in the last moments. And the Sodaro brothers, Ola and Bola, they even filed a defamation lawsuit against Jussie's legal team.
Wait, what?
Well, he said they was gay, so they
on that.
Yeah. So it was messy everywhere.
Wow.
I don't know who to believe, but I have a question for you, Matt Scott.
Oh no.
Did Jussie do it?
Did he do it himself?
Did he set this up?
Okay, so I believe I believed for so long that he did, because there's so many like little things that just don't add up to me. But then I also think the Chicago PD was being really weird about what happened. But I just think he's lying. And let me just go back to what I said earlier. Robin Roberts, as someone who interviews people, like, if someone, I've been in situations where I'm interviewing someone and I'm like, this person's bullshitting me and I can't prove it right now in the moment, but I know it. I feel it. Just like, when someone's telling you the truth, like you know it. And so for me, it's like all these intangibles. It's the Uber. It's the guy. I don't trust Ola and Bola, but you know what? They claim to do it. So, maybe I'll just let them have that. But I think I'm sad to say, Jussie, who was an icon in so many ways, had one of the first, if not the first, like Black queer wedding on TV. He lied a little bit, and it's okay because I understand it. Like if I had the pressures that he did too to represent and show up, I wouldn't have lied, but he did. So maybe I would have done that if I were in his shoes. So that's my story. I know Mari's gonna argue with me and say, Jussie didn't do it. What? He didn't lie. He's telling the truth.
Yeah, Mari.
Reasonable doubt. Why would you step on my stuff?
Yeah, why are you trying to play her? Mari, this was the police or this was Jussie?
Oh, don't do that though. It's not like that. I'm not siding with like the police.
No. Was it the Bola brothers or was it some white men? That's the question.
I think Jussie may have zhuzhed up his attack.
At the least.
Yeah, I think he.
Where did he get the damn noose, y'all? I'm sorry. I can't let you go on with that story, Mari, because that man went to Subway without a noose and came back with one.
No, with the Ola and Bola, or with the white man who jumped. Well,
the white man, because the white lady the white lady who walked the dog said that she saw a man with rope in the back of it.
2 inches of rope.
I do think that he was beaten up maybe by some white people, and he just judged it up a little bit more.
But why were Ola and Bola there?
Hey, that's not a business. That doesn't matter. It's Chicago. Black people in Chicago. Mari,
they be there.
He got beat up. They tied the rope around his neck, and then he was like, "This feels like a hate crime. I'm gonna turn it up a little bit."
Exactly. He said because he was ready to be gay Tupac. He's like, I'm going to use this to my advantage. I am going to be an advocate for my people. I am going to stand up and fight for the rights of my people. And of course, as soon as he did that, the police were like, no, you don't do that. Stop it. We are going to make your life miserable. I mean, that can happen.
But no, it doesn't add up. Like
because
I think like, that adds
I don't
up.
want to discredit him at all.
It sounds like you do,
but I'm just kind of annoyed because the story isn't story. Like it doesn't.
I mean,
make sense.
these white.
That's why I said he made up the story, but he got jumped.
But the white muggers is really where it's like that's the question, because it's like what Matt's saying is true.
Mm-hmm.
Bola and Ola should not be there. The only reason they're saying that they're there is because they went to go do this
conveniently for that hour. They were
right.
there.
If you have, if Jussie has no reason to be at Subway at negative 20 degrees, Ola and Bola have no reason to just be wandering around the subway that Jussie lives by in negative 20 degrees.
But they tracked them going home from that area.
Yeah.
Did the police retrace their steps to say where they went before that? Did they
all we know is they got off the ride share, and then later on they got onto the taxi.
But Mari, you're right.
That was going home, right?
No, Mari, you're right. And this is why it's annoying, because why I feel like I don't know if it's a failure of the police or a failure of the documentary. You know what I mean? Like, why didn't they explain where these men were walking around? Because the cameras were there.
Yeah, I mean, we get footage of them running around. We do. We get footage of them walking. We saw that in color. We see that.
Mm-hmm.
But the question is, if Ola and Bola, who are confirmed that they were there, we got the Uber record. I mean, I guess you could fake that too. But we got the rideshare record that showed that Ola and Bola were there. But why are they there if not to beat Jussie's ass?
That's what I'm saying. If you can track them going home, you should be able to track them leaving their home to where they were. You see what I'm saying? Like,
but I think they did.
You're supposed I
think that was the Uber. But I think that's the Uber to the area.
Yeah. So they got the Uber. They got the Uber to the area.
They got the Uber to the area.
Probably from home. Yeah.
And then they got the taxi from the area to their home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the taxi didn't drop them off at their house. It dropped them off in the neighborhood, and then they proceeded to walk. But the question is, if they had no clue that Jussie was going to be at Subway, then why the hell were they there? And where are the white men that Jussie said were there?
And why, if you are just a fan of a white fan or any fan
is crazy.
You're a fan of Empire and Jussie, and you happen to be out
with your noose.
But you know what? Mari makes a good point with this story. But why wouldn't Jussie just admit that he lied about his story and judged it up a little bit? You know?
Why you just giving people your phone? Why are you just giving people your phone, Jussie?
I know.
But that's the thing, though. Too, they did this whole trial. You at that point, they should have subpoenaed his phone.
Can't they just take the phone?
They should have subpoenaed his phone and looked for stuff in there. So. That's why I was really like, that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense.
And to that, I'll say that maybe they did. God. It's just not in the documentary. Matt brought up a really good point. Right. I mean, maybe it is a failure in the documentary. You know, they left out the gay stuff for sure. So maybe they left out the phone stuff. But regardless, there's so many questions that are left unanswered. And I guess maybe that's the point of the documentary, right? The point of the documentary isn't to prove that Jussie did it or prove that Jussie is innocent of this. The documentary is titled "The Truth About Jussie Smollett?" ? You know, the documentary is to give us something to talk about. It's asking us the question instead of answering the question for us.
But I'm pissed because it's not the truth. It's not even the truth of what we know, but Chappell, the information that we should know, about, people's sexuality and the ways that might come into the story and what happened and everything. They left things out. So maybe it does make sense that they had a question mark at the end because the documentary was lying to us a little bit too. Wow. Yeah. I'm going to have to give this 1 magnifying glass out of 5.
Mari, you are the crime scene expert here. You are our true crime expert. I don't really care about Matt's opinions about magnifying glass. No disrespect to Matt.
Good. Yeah, fair.
You watch a lot of true crime documentaries. Knowing and talking through what we've already talked about, how do you feel about the documentary? How many magnifying glasses did you go to give it?
I would give it 4.5 because it now makes me want to go and do my own research just to see how much they might have left out. But I thought it was great. I thought it was absolutely amazing. An hour and 26 minutes about a case that you think you know everything, but you don't know everything on it. Expertly laid out all sides. talked to so many people directly involved in the case. I mean, this was great. Like, I really liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Easy
agree about
watch.
what you said about the doing my own and like my own research about this as well. Because as I'm looking up things while we're talking, we definitely got an article from February 12, 2019 that says Smollett oh yeah, here it is. Smollett's crisis manager defended Empire actor on Tuesday, saying police have found his account of an alleged attack and possible hate crime to be consistent and credible. After detectives said redacted phone records meant to corroborate his story were insufficient, Smollett, who is a black and openly gay, told police that while walking home from his apartment, he was accosted by two men who hurled racial and homophobic slurs at him. He said the two men beat him up and poured an unknown chemical substance on him, which we did not even talk about in the documentary. They also go on to say that the crisis manager, Chris Bastardi, says that Jussie is the victim here, which has been stated by the superintendent of police. Jussie has voluntarily provided his phone records from within an hour of the attack and given multiple statements to the police. Chicago PD has repeatedly informed us that they find Jussie's account of what happened that night consistent and credible. Superintendent Johnson has been clear from day one that Jussie is a victim. So I think we were fed some propaganda throughout this documentary. It definitely led us to believe that that Jussie didn't want to give up his phone records, which we see happened apparently within a day of them asking for it. And we don't even talk about the chemicals that were poured on him, which I completely forgot about. Yeah. So from that, I will say, Matt, I don't know. I don't know if I can give it a 4.5 because I feel like I was lied to a little bit.
That's how I feel too. I just want all of the information because the thing is, like, this documentary, and this is the thing that really is kind of pissing me off, and I think will piss me off more and more, is that this is leading to people just dunking on Jussie Smollett again and again and again, and like discrediting the facts. And I just want to point out that I pulled this up from the Human Rights Campaign, a story I saw earlier that was about how, like, from FBI data a year ago, LGBTQ plus hate crimes are continuing to spike and continuing to go up. It's like, this is a real problem and people are not focusing on the real problem. This is why I get so upset about all the focus on like celebrity as opposed to the real people and real issues who are actually facing this. So it's annoying, but Mari mentioned it. Hopefully we could have some real conversations that happen about these issues because of it. So I'm somewhat hopeful, maybe.
Okay. Well, with that said, Matt, thank you for joining us here to talk about this documentary. It's so much fun to have you all the time. What else you got going on in your world?
Look, I'm just happy to be here. But people could follow me, Matt Scott GW. I'll be back talking about Flavor of Love soon. I'm just around. I pop up like whenever people want me. I just show up. So that's all I could say, really. Mari will probably have me on Crime Scene again soon talking about this. I swore I texted Mari this, by the way, before. I'm like, I had to gut check, like, wait, am I going on Crime Scene or on Recap Kickback? But yeah, like Matt Scott GW on all the platforms, Blue Sky especially.
I'm glad you're wherever people want you to be because I believe there's
low standards.
There's a pay-per-view coming up for the wrestling fans out there, and so
where?
I don't know, but they typically happen once a month, and this month is about over. So I know something coming up.
I will say Mari and I are probably on maternity leave again because of
maternity leave.
Naomi.
Oh, right. Yeah. I'm about to say, Mari, what the hell, man?
Shout out to our queen, Naomi, who is
shout out to her
with child. What a champ! Proceed with caution. All of it, but yeah, we'll be back at some point. You know us.
Yeah,
we show up whenever.
A great announcement. That was such a fun heel announcement of her pregnancy as she's giving up the title. Yeah. Very hilarious. Shout out to her. Clash in Paris is this Sunday, August 31st.
We'll be busy.
And then
we'll be recovering from going places together.
What is it? WrestlePalooza coming up in September. There's some stuff.
WrestlePalooza is wild.
Survivor Series Something's coming up, damn it.
Yeah, so Survivor Series we'll definitely do. We always do Survivor Series.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, hopefully,
TBD on Clash in Paris. Make sure you are following Recap Kickback in order to get notified when we do post our wrestling.
The Wrestling Kickback. The Wrestling Kickback. We should probably say the name of it officially.
But you have to be still subscribed to the Recap Kickback.
No, that's what I'm saying.
In order to get that.
I know. And we're so thankful to have Chappell as our boss. We're here. Yes. We're still here.
Yeah, under new management. So you can find me over at Blue Sky at Mari Talks Too Much. 2 like the number 2. That's the only place I'm at. I'm talking about Big Brother 27 over there, having a lot of fun. You can also find me if you like this conversation and you want more true crime documentary talk, you can find me over on Crime Scene Pod with Sarah Carradine. You can go to crimescenepod.com. That's crime SEEN pod.com in order to subscribe and listen to me and Sarah break down a whole bunch of true crime documentaries with a lot of very, very fun guests.
Yes, buymeacoffee.com/crime scene pod.
All right. And you can catch me. I got to guest on the Was It Good Though podcast again with my friends over there, the friends of the podcast, Jazz and Jason, and we talked about Love Jones. And so if you want to hear an unhinged conversation about one of my favorite 90s Black movies, then please go check out the Was It Good Though podcast and show some love to Jazz and Jason over there. But that's it, y'all. So for Matt, for Mari, for Jussie Smollett, and myself, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. We will talk to y'all next time. Peace. I've been trapped behind Maria, isolated like it's North Korea. Smaller city with some bigger dreams. The wall is cracked, I'm looking in between it. The world is yours, but man, I gotta see it. They say it's hard, but man, I gotta see it. The air I'm breathing can't feel my chest. Wait on life, I wanna hold my breath. I'ma get in my goddamn self.